Hey everyone, today we're gonna go over an updated endgame build for bow. The first one I made was pretty early in the game, I think it was the first few days. And while those sets were pretty good, we now have a better understanding on how the game works and the meta had time to settle down. So like in the first video, we're gonna go over everything and I'm gonna explain why we chose each skill. If you play other weapons, you realize that this set is very similar to other weapons. And compared to the last video, we also switched to Gore 4-piece instead of 2-piece. And just as a quick recap for those that don't know, what Gore 2-piece gives you is Frenzy when you attack a large monster. And after dealing some damage, you will cure Frenzy, and that will grant you 15% affinity. We also pair this with the skill Antivirus 3, which is on this build, which helps you cure Frenzy faster and grants you an additional 10% for a total of 25%. And yes, I know the game says that Antivirus gives you 15%, but the description is wrong and it is 10%. Now the big change compared to the last video is that we switched from 2-piece Gormagala to 4-piece Gormagala. 4-piece gives you 10 raw and an extra 5 raw when you cure Frenzy for a total of 15 raw. In my last video, I presented a set that had burst 5, and the logic behind that was that this skill gives a lot of elements, and bow has always been an elemental weapon. But turns out that the elemental part of your damage is actually quite small for bow. If you want to learn more, I made a video specifically about this that I'm going to link in the description of this video. Additionally, burst is a very front-loaded skill, meaning that the first point gives you most of the benefit. The first point gives you 6 raw and 40 elements, and each additional points only give you 1 raw and 20 elements. So that's the reason why in this build we only have 1 point of burst and we have 1 point of adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush is also a front-loaded skill, not to the extent of burst, but still, it gives you 10 raw for the first point and 5 raw for each subsequent level. So with this change compared to the previous build, we lose 80 elements, but we win 21 raw. And with the current set of elements on board right now, it is a very beneficial trade. Now when it comes to your talisman and decorations, you want to make sure that you have 5 points of weakness exploit. And just as a quick reminder, weakness exploit at level 5 gives you 30% affinity on weak points and an additional 20% on wounds. Now there is some flexibility in this build. We have 4 level 2 empty decorations to choose whatever you want. By default on this build I put Stamina Surge 3 because I think that it really helps with stamina management. But because of the way the bow works in Wilds, Stamina Surge is not mandatory like it used to be in other games. So if you don't think that you need Stamina Surge, on the screen you can find some possible replacements. My number 1 choice would be the Counter Strike skill. Not to be confused with the Counter Attack decoration, which is for Adrenaline Rush. Those are 2 different skills. What Counter Strike does is when you get hit by a monster, you get additional raw. At level 3, you get 25 raw for 45 seconds whenever you get hit, which is a huge amount for a long time, so it's a very beneficial skill. Also, and I'm pretty sure this is a bug, but sometimes on bow when you dash and counter an attack that has multiple instances of damage, you proc that skill without being hit. So it's up to you. Because we have 4 level 2 decorations, even if you want to keep Stamina Surge, I think it's beneficial to have at least 1 point of Counter Strike. Okay, so let's talk about the weapon, and we're gonna use the Arthian bow. I'm gonna go more in depth about which bow specifically in a moment. And first, let's start with the decorations. You want to have at least critical 3 and spread. The third slot is the most flexible, but the most beneficial is to have a combo deco with 3 points of your element and 1 point of tetrad shot. Please note that in this video as an example I took a fireball. Obviously if you have a different element, do not slot in blaze, slot in the element of your bow. I've had a lot of questions and people were confused about what tetrad shot does, so I'm gonna try to explain quickly here. Tetrad shot does 2 things. The first thing is, on your 4th and 6th cutting, is going to give you 3, 6 or 10 raw, depending on if you have level 1, 2 or 3, and always gonna give you 5% element. And the second and most important thing is that from cutting 4 to 10, it's gonna give you 8, 10 and 12% affinity depending on the level of your skill. And once again, it's one of the skills that gets the most benefit on the first point. So because it comes as a combo deco with your elemental decoration, it's very beneficial to slot in. So now let's talk about what bow to go after, and without surprise, the Arthian bow is the best out there. Now about the bonuses, the most beneficial is attack, so you want to craft your bow with 3 attack bonuses, and for the random bonuses, the more attack you have the better. The second best choice is affinity, and the third best choice is element. Now if you don't have the perfect 8 attack Arthian bow, don't worry about it, this is fine. the difference between the best RTN and the worst possible RTN on average is only 2 or 3%. Now, one thing I should say is that not all RTN are made equal, and that's because of the coatings. So each element has fixed coatings. So for example, fire will always have close range coatings, dragon will always have power coatings, etc. And by far the best coating for damage is close range coating. So because of that, it's always beneficial to use the two bows that have close range coatings, and that's fire and water RTN. Even if a monster is more weak to ice or thunder, for example, you will still do more damage with fire or water just because of the close range coating. Just make sure to use the one that the monster is weakest to between the two. And very quickly, a specific build for Dragon Piercer. Dragon Piercer does even less elemental damage than regular bow play. So we're gonna choose the Guardian Doshaguma's bow because it has the highest roll and it already has 1 point of true shot. And in the decoration, we're gonna keep critical 3, but we're gonna replace spread for pierce and we're gonna slot in the 2nd point of true shot. Okay, that was a very quick video, but I just wanted to update my builds compared to last time. If you have questions, please make sure to leave a comment under the video and I'll see you next time. See ya!